All right, today we're going to tear down the physical training of elite badminton players. And by the end of this, you're going to have the exact blueprint to take your game from just a club player to a pro-level athlete. To really get why this is so critical, let's just start with a fact about the speed of this sport that'll blow your mind.
And believe me, that is not an exaggeration. The shuttle can travel so ridiculously fast that your conscious brain literally cannot keep up. What that means is your body has to be trained to react purely on instinct. To even think about competing at a high level, your body needs to be a finely tuned machine, one that can move with incredible, almost unconscious speed and precision.
So this slide right here, it just nails the core difference. A pro looks like they're gliding on ice, covering the whole court in just a few silent, explosive steps. But the average club player, well, they often sound like that frustrated elephant, stomping around, taking 5 heavy steps when a pro only needs 2. That efficiency, that's exactly what we're here to build.
So how do we get there? We're going to break it down into 6 key areas. We'll start with the whole philosophy behind the pro physique, then we'll build the engine, your legs, master movement through agility drills, unleash that crazy power with the full body whip, learn how to fuel the grind with the right kind of stamina, and finally, we'll get into the pro mindset that holds it all together.
All right, let's jump right into part 1, the core philosophy. Before we even look at a single exercise, we have to understand what kind of body we're actually trying to build.
Okay, this is probably the single most important idea you need to grasp. Just look at the pros. They aren't huge bodybuilders, right? Their power comes from what's called a kinetic chain. Think of it like a whip. It channels all that energy from the ground up through your body. If you try to muscle a shot with just your arm, you're not just losing a ton of power, you're probably going to get injured.
So let's get into how we actually build this whip, and it all starts from the ground up. The foundation for everything begins with the engine, your legs. Every single movement on that court, whether it's a huge jump smash or a low defensive lunge, it starts right here. Just think about it for a second. Your legs are what get you to the shuttle in the first place. They give you the stable base you need when you hit, and most importantly, they are the very beginning of that full body whip we just talked about. It's really that simple. Weak legs mean a weak game. Period. So, how do we start building them? Well, before you even think about touching a weight, every single pro session starts the exact same way. First, a solid 10-minute warm-up, maybe on a bike, just to get the blood flowing. Then it's into dynamic stretching to get those muscles fired up and ready for work. Look, this part isn't optional. It is absolutely essential for your performance and for preventing injuries.
Okay, here's the meat of the workout. Barbell squats are for building that overall raw strength. Walking lunges are critical because, let's face it, badminton is a game of lunges. Sumo squats are great because they target your inner thighs and glutes, which you need for those wide defensive stances. And you can't forget hamstring curls. Those are key for that explosive push you need to get back to the center of the court.
All right, so we've built the engine. Now it's time to move on to part 3, agility. And right away, we need to kind of reframe how we think about this. It's not about how fast you can run a straight line. It's all about how quickly you can rebound and explode in a different direction.
And the absolute, non-negotiable cornerstone of all elite agility is the split step. It's this tiny, almost unnoticeable little hop you do the exact moment your opponent hits the shuttle. What it does is preload your muscles, which lets you just explode in any direction instead of being stuck flat-footed. Seriously, if you only master one thing in your footwork, make it this.
So, to really sharpen that rebound ability, these drills are going to be your new best friends. The T drill is perfect for simulating court coverage. Jumping lunges and high jumps build that raw explosive power you need for your attacks. And then directional split step drills train your body to react without even thinking.
All right, now for the part everyone loves. Section 4, power. This is where we learn how to generate those shots that just make your opponent's jaw hit the floor. Just let that number sink in for a second. 493 kilometers per hour. That is faster than a top-speed Bugatti, faster than a Formula One car. This is the kind of mind-boggling power that's possible in badminton, and it's all generated by the physics of that full-body whip.
So here's the kicker, the really crucial point. That devastating power has almost nothing to do with how strong your bicep is. If you're just standing there swinging your arm, you're leaving like 90% of your potential power completely untapped. It is all about channeling energy from your legs and core.
So, to build that cannon of a smash, these are the exercises you need. Rotational throws with a medicine ball literally teach your core how to whip your shoulders through the shot. Pullovers build strength in your back and chest for that powerful downward snapping motion.
And things like wrist drills with a rice bucket develop the forearm strength you need for that final lethal flick.
Okay, we've got the power. But what good is it if we can't sustain it? You can have all the speed and power in the world, but it means nothing if you're out of gas by the end of the second set. So Section 5 is all about building the stamina to dominate deep into that third set.
And this is a super critical distinction to make. Badminton is not a marathon. It is a series of short, intense, all-out sprints. You need the ability to explode, recover for just a few seconds, and then do it again, and again, and again. You know, training for a 10K run, it's just not going to cut it here.
You want to know the best way to build this kind of stamina? You mimic it. This simple interval routine is perfect because it simulates the exact rhythm of a tough rally. 20 seconds, 100%. 10 seconds to rest. Repeat. Doing this will build the specific kind of endurance your body actually needs on the court.
And of course, you have to fuel that engine the right way. Pro players load up on carbs, things like sweet potatoes or bananas for energy before a session. Protein is for after the workout to kickstart muscle recovery. And during those intense matches, electrolytes are completely non-negotiable to stay hydrated and keep your performance high.
And that brings us to our final section, number 6. This is the part that truly separates the dedicated players from the elite ones, recovery. Because the grind doesn't stop when you step off the court. What you do off the court is every bit as important as what you do on it. This quote from a young state player, man, it just says everything. He talks about how when his body is screaming at him and he's totally exhausted, that's when the real training begins. It becomes a mental game. Pushing through that wall of fatigue is how you forge the mental toughness to win those brutal 3-set matches.
But listen, you can only push that hard if you recover just as hard. Stretching and foam rolling after workout are mandatory, not optional. Prioritizing rest is huge. Pro Academy players will even take long 1.5 to 2 hour naps between their sessions. But more than any single thing, the secret ingredient is consistency. Just showing up every single day is what really builds a champion.
So there it is, the complete blueprint. From building the engine in your legs to developing the mindset of a pro, the entire path to elite performance is laid out for you. So the question isn't, can you do it? It's, are you willing to embrace the grind? Are you ready to train like a champion?